Kata, good afternoon. Question. 2-1 more or less against Philadelphia, traditionally in MLS with Jim Kirk, who's been in a decade just going after Atlanta. Is going to be a hard game. So, what is your impression about the semifinal? How difficult is it to be a visiting team against the locals, and a team, the Union team that is very well coached? First of all, Jen has been there for many years in Philadelphia. The team, and beyond the change in players, they have their forms, they have their ideas. They've been finalists as the league. Yes, last year they were almost champions. They ended up losing, but you know it's a semifinal game, so semifinals. So we always the being the home field advantage is strong, but we also have our aspirations to be able to go to advance to the finals. Ricardo, a couple questions. How did Messi end up? We saw him stumble and his ankle was not feeling well. No, it's fine well up to now. And why Farias? How did you see him? Why did you make him join the team? The idea is that Vacunto not travel again, but we had a problem with Edison Ascona and the training of yesterday's training. He ended up with an ankle a problem with with an ankle that he always has problems with, or generally has problems with. We had to change a player, an attack player, and Facu came in a day before Tomas and trained well. I'm saying there was no intention to take him. It seems like it was a little bit in pressure, but we had to do it for this need.
Bueno, nosotros esperamos, bueno, yo particularmente espero una línea de 3 mañana de
I
Filadelfia.
expect a line of 3 in Philadelphia tomorrow. And the idea is if Kada and Bejudoya can come to the team or not, that sets up the system that they're going to use. But in the defense, it's going to be the same 3 players that played in the last game. Franzo Paris, a question for Tata y uno para Drake.
Yo estuve en una parte del entrenamiento.
I wasn't part of the training because after that we had to have a meeting, and I was preparing for that. I didn't see exactly what happened, but imagine that had been something serious, everybody would be scandalized, and since they were all fine, nothing happened. Tata, how are you? Are you thinking of the same starters tomorrow? Have you decided? And the second question is, what game do you think is going to be Philadelphia? Very much like Orlando with Messi mad and everybody discussing, or a lot of goals? We're thinking of a game that is going to be a little bit close. And we see Philadelphia normally as a team that when they play at the beginning with long balls, they prepare to dispute to fight for the second ball. When they find a game or teams that go from behind or from the bottom, they do pressure, they press. And in that, we're not going to give up from what we want to do. And we will see if their pressure is better than our game or our game is better than their pressure. Milan Solimani from El Venezolano. I wanted to ask you from Facundo Farias and Tomas Viles. How do you see them? Do you see them ready to play? Are you going to give them time, practice time? How do you see them? Tomas is not going to travel. We're going to have Mota and Stefanelli. Both Facundo, yes, they trained very well yesterday. They had an intense training. Today they trained again. The topic of heat hit much more than Facundo, so we had time and adaptation. Like I said before, I need a week of training, a complete training, to be able to understand how the team plays and how they get together. I was seeing very well that a couple of days after arriving with the team, and there was a complication because of some injuries.
Gerardo, querido, bueno, un gusto poder
I
estar
am happy to be able to hear to talk to you. We're talking. You coach Barcelona in Argentina. What do you think about Copa America and World Cup and the footballist and Leo daily Leo that you have to deal with? And there is a portion that I don't link so much to after the World Cup because I don't know because it was a Copa America. What does it have to do with the leadership, not only for football but also but also in the field? We saw that in the World Cup. I think there is a change that is fundamental, and it is before the second part of taking the charge off or the load off from what have has been for him a need and desire for the Argentina. He's won a lot in with Argentina, and he has been transformed very well after getting to Lionel, and obviously the fact that he ended up with a title on the last one. If I find him with the same desire to compete, you will see it in the field. I don't have to tell you, but a lot more calm, much happier. Being happy also has to do with where he's been, desired to play. In the United States is very good, not only for coaches, but for players to continue to play as a trainer or as a coach in soccer in normal times that you can't find in other places. And at some point in your life, this is very you're grateful to have that kind of consistency. And it also shows how far you've been able to compete and to compete like he competes and like I've been able to do in Atlanta and here. And in some way, if you don't have a desire to compete, you can continue to play. The limits are just your own. And it's good to be in a place that makes life normal and normalizes life, but you can continue to work. Hello, Tata. Fernando Fiera, Inter Miami. There are a couple of questions that everybody is thinking about. One is the calendar, more games and more half times. And then the next one is the rotation, because you were telling us, a colleague, that it was going to be the same team, but you're going to have to think about that word currently. The truth is that we have, and we are not in the tournament of 33, 34 dates. We're in a tourney to continue to win and go ahead. And next week, we're going to do the same thing, which is the semifinal for Copa. And when you're in that place, in my career, I've not seen as a player, as a trainer, as a coach, the world rotation exists. No. You have to confront what you have in front of you, and the players ask for it. And even though you see it and you notice, obviously there is an incidence from the coaching staff during the game, but in the previous game, the people who are available are going to continue to play. And then when we go back to the tournament, we'll see. We have a lot of games, one after another, every 3 or 4 days. No, specifically, it's And the next week, in the next few days,